Yeah.
Zoom does not handle as well.
So we are being recorded and live streamed. Everyone should just.
Well, way to go, famous, I guess. Sticking everything is, you know, a little bit appropriate.
And I guess maybe we should get started at this point.
Yeah, that would be awesome for me as well.
Hi, everyone. I'm Scott Martins from Community Development at Jina. And this is our regular all hands. We have a great speaker for you today. First of all, y'all can hear me, right? Okay. We have a great speaker for you today. Peter Willemsen. He's going to be he is the co-founder of TangleHub, and he's going to be sharing his experiences with Jina today. The title is really quite provocative. From zero to hero with Jina in 7 days. Peter is a self-taught coder with interests in art and AI, and has a mission to bring AI, make AI accessible to the masses. We at Jina are on that mission too. So, Peter, are you ready? Should I turn it over to you?
Yeah, I'm all ready, and that was a pretty great introduction. Thanks. So, does that mean I can share my screen now?
I think that's, yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so let's start this boy up. Okay, so first of all, thanks for having me here. It's absolutely lovely to share this opportunity with you and to really see what we have done and what Jina has added to that. So yeah, the title is Zero to Hero, and that's because I actually did have nothing at the start. What did I do? I built a image generation bot based on a fork of Disco Diffusion. It's created by Jina itself. It's called Disco Art. And well, the rest will talk for itself, I guess. Let's get into it. So hello, this is me. I already heard a good introduction, so I don't think I can add much more to it. So we're just gonna skip right ahead because the introduction that Scott gave was already absolutely spot on. So I think we should start by the beginning, and that's how did I find Jina AI. Well, I had my own bot for a while, at least. It was a Discord bot based on latent diffusion, which was a popular algorithm that at the time, at least, caught a huge amount of hype. And I found it so funny, especially because you could run it on like little hardware. So I was like, let's make a bot out of it. And I have a small Discord server from my live streams, and we had fun. You know, it was like a group of 50 people, just a few that just, you know, did really weird prompts. It was absolutely amazing, and I found it lovely. But yeah, I discontinued it. It was just a private project, just a weekend thing, nothing really that was related to any what you're gonna see today. But yeah, why did I discontinue it? I thought I could make something better. Like I was trying to, you know, try to create stuff like diffusion models that we could fine tune based on images that we provide, and you know, stuff like that that is really hard to do. And I thought I could do it in just 3 days. So I felt like I put the boundaries too high for myself. Like the whole bar was too high, and eventually this just turned into nothing. And I felt bad because I thought I could do it in just a few days. So then I was just overall just browsing on the Lion Discord, and I saw this guy named Han posting updates about this thing called Disco Art. And at the time I was like, looks great, put it in my bookmarks and basically forgot about it. Then another update came and another, and I was like, hey, what are you doing? You know, what is all this? So I started to look into it, and it was really just amazing. Like it was not really a single model, wasn't really like a single thing that you could actually use. It was a whole group of things all wrapped into this nice interface, and you can just, you know, like write prompts, get images, you can edit them, like you can add changes to them, you can make multiple prompts, combine them together. it was really cool. I spent weeks making art on this thing, and that's something I normally do with like 3D art on Blender or like a drawing tablet. So this was really, really a sick tool if it can make me this addicted. So yeah, that was really the start for a new bot. I felt like if I have to make a new Discord bot, this is going to be it, because it was relatively popular. It had a huge community around it that just made stuff like all the time and just get added to this update after update. And I wanted to have that in my bot so that people can use it and I can, well, just use my my own local GPU for running this thing. So, well, that was the first week basically, mostly analyzing stuff. And so the decision was made. The bot was going to be recoded on Jina's architecture because Disco Art led me to Jina. Disco Art is built on a various amount of technologies made by Jina. The first, most obvious one was Jina Flow, which basically lets you create multiple tiny surfaces, link them together in a single, what they call a gateway, which I would say is the most comparable to a server. But it was really easy to use. Like you can just export it as Docker, you can run it in whatever else you want. There's a bunch of other technologies, but I don't use all of them. So Docker was for me the way to go. So the decision was made, and that's how Thingy was born. The name Thingy is a bit odd, I know, but I was live streaming. I just do dev streams, and I was sharing stuff, and I was like, okay, you know, I'm just building this Discord bot. How should I name it? Like, just let me know. And nobody really replied, but there was one guy in the chat, he said Thingy. So, well, yeah, that's how it became Thingy. So like the latent diffusion bot, that really was just a feature in a bigger bot. It wasn't even its own bot. It's an image generation bot, but of course the huge difference is that it's using Disco Art. It has a goal of just doing a prompt, getting results, and the most biggest goal was to make Disco Art user-friendly. More on that later. So here's a screenshot of how Thingy worked. You just type a prompt, you get a result, and you get this quilt of 4 images in about 3 minutes time. And that was on the RTX 3080. And you had like a bunch of buttons for upscale or variation. And this interface, for those that are familiar with Midjourney, is very comparable to that. And that's true, because I love Midjourney and I felt like they really nailed the user interface. It's not entirely stolen from Midjourney, actually. There's like a bunch of differences, but we'll get to that later. This is just to give an idea of what it did. This image is built by another member. I used it as with permission, so it's in there. So Max Current, you're famous now. And that was basically it for the bot. So let's see how the first week went before moving on to the next. So the development was split into 2 weeks. The first week was mostly choosing a language, the tools and library. And the reason why I spent a whole week on just looking at stuff and selecting stuff was because I wanted to do this right, and I wanted to do it right at once. I wanted to make sure I used the right tools. I wanted to make sure that I will not get any issues. And of course, I was working with a completely new framework, which was Jina. And being the paranoid guy I am, I don't really like to use cloud services as easily. So one of the main things I was looking at in Jina is how open is it, you know, like how easily can I take my image and move it somewhere else? And it turns out to be quite easy. In fact, it's even attractive to use this instead of, you know, doing it yourself. They have a lot of good base images on Docker. They even show you how to run it in the documentation outside of their cloud. So props to that. And if you do want it to run it on their cloud, it's also really easy. So all in all, great start. The main language was going to be Kotlin, which is a JVM compatible language. And the reason why is because they have an exceptional Discord bot library, and also one that I'm used to before. So the reason why this bot is so good, or this bot library, is because it has all the latest functions and great documentation. And well, I am already used to it, so it was just a good start. It works with Jina Flow. I'm saying in a question mark because quite challenging, but it was also a really interesting journey. What I will explain on this will save you hours, if not days, because this really kept me up at night. So yeah, but it did work in the end. Well, like I said, it's GVM compatible, so that means that any Java-related tools can also be used. So even if it's a relatively new language, old libraries can work, and it's fast. I know that Java is slow. Kotlin is by no means any faster than a native language like Rust, Go, or C++, but it's fast enough, especially considering the main bottleneck being the image generation. It's hardly worth mentioning how fast or slow this is. So yeah, we already mentioned that we're going to use GDA and of course Jina Flow. And not to miss out Disco art, of course. So the first features are going to be developed after we have spent a week on, finding the right libraries. The first thing that was really important was, of course, linking Disco art to my bot. That was the most important thing, because without the link, you have no Discord bot, right? So that's why we started. So this is where the biggest and the biggest challenges came from. So let us go to the Jina documentation to kind of give an idea of what they're doing. So you have this concept called the gateway, which, like I said, was linking with every flow that you have or every executor inside the flow. And the idea is that this is like a server where you can have like encryption, you can have like your request, you can create your API basically as if it's a singular thing. And you can choose a different number of protocols: HTTP, WebSockets, and gRPC. So naturally, I was lazy and I was like, I'm going to go with HTTP because, I know there's libraries for that, and gRPC, I don't know it. And well, I was afraid of using it. It looked pretty complicated. Now, here's where things got a little bit funny, because during this whole time I was streaming, and of course I was in the Lion Discord, and well, Han Chao was there too. He was, showing updates. So naturally, I was DMing him when I had a question, and I did not know he was either a doctor nor the CEO of Jina. So it was like in my stream, I was like, oh, guys, I got an issue again. Let me ask my boy Han. I'll just, write a DM and we'll get to it. So I did not know anything about that. And well, eventually that changed, of course, when I knew he was the CEO. But yeah, that made me a little bit red at the time. But so in that moment, I just was like, okay, he said gRPC is better because it's, well, not just more supported, it's just as supported as HTTP, but it has some ease of use features. And one of the things that gRPC can do is it can create APIs for you. So here we have the old version of Disco art, the thingy bot. The reason why I have an old project is because these 2 weeks been, a while in the past, and I wanted to give you the ultimate experience of what it was in those 2 weeks and not something that has been developed much later on. So sorry that these are red. This is because I don't know, the project is a little bit out of date, but these kind of things that you can see here, like Jina RPC, data request proto, and all of these things, they are being generated by gRPC. So what Jina does, they offer what they call a protocol, which is this file. And as you can see, it contains every single thing that they use in their network. So document arrays, your documents, the Jina request, the routes. So you just run this stuff inside your project. So gRPC is supported by Kotlin. You have to configure it a bit. I'll just leave that out for now. But then it generates this source code, which you then can call whenever you like. So this is very nice because you don't have to use strings as requests like texts and be subject to human error or whatever is going to happen, because APIs are text based, and this is just nice. So not only did I learn Jina, I also learned gRPC. But yeah, that was like a 6 to 8 hour stream just to get that right, and this was the challenge, and this is why the question mark was there. The thing you see here wasn't as it was before. When I was when I was doing stuff with Jina, I was linked to this file. And you can see here your protocols, you can, the things that you've seen before. So every time I was like, hey, I have issues with the protocol because I cannot run it. I don't know why, but it doesn't work. I keep getting errors. It turns out to be this file, doc.array.proto. As you can see, it's completely empty. And Han told me that it had something to do with some kind of backstory in their company, and they had to do this. And I don't know exactly what happened, but eventually when he found out, he referred me to this. And really keep this in mind if you're going to use your own protocol buffers like gRPC. So if you're going to use another language outside of Python, because Jina has native support for Python, but not for Kotlin or any other language, basically. So you need to use these protocol files to, use and understand that protocol. But this file, same name, but different content. So Han says, take this file and replace the contents of this one with this one. Whoa, he was a lifesaver. Suddenly it worked. I was spending almost a night on this, and I was so glad that I went to his DMs, because this I would never have found. So please keep that in mind. And if you're gonna use gRPC, this is absolutely important, because you're gonna ruin otherwise the entire protocol, and you're never gonna get any requests. But thank God, after that was done, we could finally get a link. And that is what the thing that you see here. It was this client, which calls all of these protocols that have been generated with source code, and it does a whole bunch of things. The first request is basically to create an image based on the prompt, and the second was to get the results. So there was 2 requests going on. The second request basically gave you a progress. How is it going? Because it takes quite a while. In the beginning, it even took 11 minutes per image, but more on that later. Now, how do I get back to my presentation? Here. So now that the link finally is done, I'm going to drink some water. That wasn't part of the features, by the way. But after the link was done, we were going to do create, variate, and upscale. Those features were very important to me, because for the very reason that this card has a lot of parameters, and creating these 3, like Midjourney has, it gives me the feeling that I can actually pack all of that into one thing. So by letting the user choose what they like and going on from there. So those 3 features were very, very important. And the way they work was pretty simple, actually. I was messing around with it for a while, but I actually got it right pretty fast. The idea of create is just this card, but more on that later. But variate, what we basically did, we took your resulting image, we added some noise into it, and then we just ran this cohort again. And what it did was it created similar looking images, but still the same prompt and still the same kind of image. So that was a feature that wasn't at the time in this cohort, but yeah, we just created that. Upscale, similar idea. We just took an image, added more noise on it, upscaled it, and then let it run again. And what it did was it kind of removed pixels, like it removed the crunchiness and added more detail to it. It didn't always result in the best results, but it did work, at least for now, good enough. So we were happy with that. So those 3 features are nice, but there was one big challenge ahead, because disco art is slow. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Like, don't get me wrong, you can make some amazing things with disco art, but sorry. But the main issue was that taking 11 minutes to generate one image, it's not fast, and I feel like that can be better. And that's something that I really wanted to focus on. And what I did was a series of optimizations. We'll get back to those later. And the second, or the fourth thing I should say, was increasing user friendliness, because while disco art is very powerful, I really wanted to make a bot that wasn't really about like mimicking disco art. I wanted to create an entirely new interface. It was mostly, like, keep in mind, it was a weekend project for me, right? So it was a way to practice. So I learned Jina, I learned gRPC, and I wanted to learn more about user friendliness and accessibility. So those things were very important. And the last thing is the fairness queue. And the fairness queue is called fair because what it does is it lets one member create one image at a time, or one set of images. And therefore, if you have like a bunch of people and they all want to generate an image, and you have limited hardware, because this thing was running on my laptop, right? This was like going like really long for like 24/7. This thing was like I would lie in bed and I would wake up because the thing is just going because suddenly the RTX 3080 starts spinning up because someone uses my bot. So limited resources, all offered for free. So the fairness queue limits one user to generate at a time. So if one user wants to make 4 images, that's not allowed, but 4 users can make 1 image. So that was a really nice way to, let everyone have it to try. And also keep in mind that this was built in a time where we didn't have stable diffusion yet. So, and no bots for stable diffusion, because right now there's a lot of bots that just all compete with each other and they all have different things, and they all offer sometimes free, sometimes paid resources. So this was a weekend project with free resources for a small server. Of course, things have changed since then. We'll get back to those later. So as for optimization, and this was the first thing, disco art took a long time. It was like I said, 11 minutes for an image. And my first idea was that it's because it's large, right? Disco art generates images over 1,000 pixels wide and around 700 pixels height. That's pretty a lot, especially for a small GPU to take in. And so I was like, you know what, why don't we just downscale it a little bit? But I started to get huge oversaturation issues. As you can see here, this is the Wood Galaxy and some of the more trippy prompts I made. And you can see if I downscale it, looks more like a salad. It doesn't look like the original image at all. And it was faster, but even then, it took like, I don't know, like 6 minutes, which is still a long time, especially if you want to create a set of images so your users can like choose one and then say, I like this one. So what could I do here? Well, the first thing I could do was, well, yeah, what could I do? Let me think, it's a little bit technical right now. Well, I could optimize the diffusion model, right? I could say, let's just take disco diffusion and fine tune it for smaller images. Great idea, is never going to work because disco diffusion is not one model, it's a set of models. So I cannot just take one model and fine tune it. I have to do every single one of them. And not just that, it was a huge project, right? So everyone was making their own models and fine tuning them to something. You got faces, you got oil paint, you got pixel art, you got like all of these things, and when there was an update, I have to also fine tune them. So that would be a huge undertaking, especially if you consider that I only have one GPU. So yeah, that means that during fine tuning, the bot was offline. So tricky, and I could not keep up with the updates. Ultimately, I found out that going down to 512 by 512, so not 256 by 256, as you see here on the left, was a good trade-off. It was still a little bit oversaturated, but not as much, and the image still looked the same. So the downsizing issue was pretty much solved. People got 512 by 512 images, 4 of them in a quilt, in a grid of 4, and they could do whatever they wanted with it. That was a good start. So now generation took around 6 minutes per image. That's still a long time. But I didn't stop there, because while it's now faster, it's still not fast enough. So another thing that I did, and this was something that was pretty nice, is if you go to the thingy source code and you look up for presets, I guess I need to do this. Presets. Did I not add them in this thing? I think they're here. Yeah, there they are. So what I did was I created these presets, and as you can see, there's like a bunch of them. You got pixel art, you got portrait, you got small, you got high detail, and all of these configurations. This is all parameters for disco diffusion, disco art. So this is a lot, right? So what I did, instead of fine tuning those models, is I use a tool called Optuna, and you can see it live here, which basically finds every possible configuration. So it goes over this huge space of configuration and tries to find every single variable and tunes it. And what it tunes it against is it takes an original image of, let's say, 1024 by 1024, and I scale it down, so in this case to 256 by 256, and then let it change the configuration so that it matches as closely as possible to the former. And this run like day and night. This was taking a really, really long time. I think I ran this for a week in the background just to find all of these variables. And you can see this red line. And the lower this red line is, the closer you get to being identical to the bigger image. And this is what ultimately resulted in what you see here in the source code presets. These aren't just presets anymore. These are literally trained models. This is trained configured models. It sounds weird, but what this did is it allowed me to really reduce a lot of things like the steps, because the amount of steps is normally a lot higher, and now they're much lower. And that really resulted in creating a lot faster images. Now I can generate 4 images in 3 minutes time. That's 4 at once. No longer like 6 minutes per image, no, 4 in 3 minutes. I was blown away. It's still slow, especially if you compare it today to stable diffusion or to latent diffusion even. But keep in mind, these models work entirely different. This was the best you could do at the time. And I was so happy. And well, that's basically how the bot came to run in those beginning of 2 weeks. And user friendliness, it didn't stop at making a few easy to use commands. As I said before, Disco Diffusion or Disco Art has a huge amount of models. And I didn't want users to be overwhelmed by the options, just to give an idea, just to give a perspective of how this looks. This is the documentation for Disco Art. This thing is all of the variables you can change. And again, not trying to say any bad about Disco Art. I really loved it. This is why I loved it. This is why I spent weeks on it, just to make art. And the thing is, I just wanted to pack all of this into one. I felt like if we can just wrap this all up and make this super user-friendly, we can, let users play with this. So one of the things we did is, let's say you type the word pixel art in your prompt, then the bot will ask you, hey, you have the word pixel art in your prompt. Do you want to use the pixel art preset? Because it will likely look better. So these kind of, tricks we implemented to make this work. Heck, even Midjourney is huge, and that's a commercial bot. Like, this is Midjourney. Like, I mean, normal people are not going to understand all of this. And credit where credit is due. Midjourney is, of course, an entirely different kind of bot. It's more professional than, say, like something like Disco Art, because Midjourney is really meant for professionals to make art. I guess Disco Art as well, given its similar configuration. But so it's not anything bad. It's just the way that they work. And I just wanted to make something new. So this is where we differ from Midjourney. We use this kind of stuff to make it user-friendly. And we also use so-called optional parameters, which I cannot show right now because the old bot is made a while ago, but I can show the newer bot where, for instance, where you type, let's say, /stable diffusion, you get optional prompts, optional parameters. So you no longer have to be looking at the documentation. You can just look at it and say, okay, I'm just going to click this and see what it is. So that was it. That's really the bot, how it works today. Or how it works back in those 2 weeks. This was done in 2 weeks. I went from absolutely knowing nothing about Jina, nothing about gRPC, nothing about what, nothing about the flows, how it works, to spending 1 week reading up on it and spending another just to link the source code, create a user-friendly interface, and make sure that it works fairly so that everyone can have an opportunity to try it out. Or is it? Because I wasn't stopping after these 2 weeks. This bot was built, I think, almost 2 months ago. And I loved it so much that I kept going, especially in the weekends when I wasn't working. And it was just awesome. I know there's like many bots out there right now, and my bot is by no means unique, but there were still a lot of things I wanted to do because I had this vision, this idea that I could do things differently, because my bot wasn't really about art. It never was about art, really. It was more about the playground to try out new models. So Thingy was really meant as a framework for people to play with models, whatever they are. So disco art was just a start. And we went much further than that. So we got now a brand new UI. It's looking nothing like Midjourney anymore. It uses stable diffusion as well as disco art. So you can actually use the two together as if they are one thing, which creates some interesting results. However, disco art is currently disabled because I haven't yet converted it to the new protocol, but it will be in there. There's social features like profiles, stats, and sharing your art with the world. And it runs on JCloud, so no more laptop that just blows away when I'm sleeping. And I think even people were in Discord like, hey, should we not run this when he's asleep, because it just blows like really loud. But yeah, that's over. And it's also public. So anyone who wants can just download it and run it on their own server, even if you don't have a cheap view, because there is a tutorial, I think, here. Yeah, where you can run it on the JCloud, which is free for now, but will change in the future. But yeah, that's what it is for now. So that really is what Thingy 2 is. And let me show a live demo of Thingy 2. Oh, someone is actually using the profile right now. It's flexing its generation. So like you can see right here, you can just get the prompts right now. But since someone else is using it now, I have to wait. But let's say employees at Jina HQ dancing because the presentation went well. I hope, at least. So you just do this. It gets added to the fairness queue. That really hasn't changed in the time that we've been working on this. And while we're waiting, I'll just show you some features what is new. So we have this concept now called chapters. And anything you do, whether it's disco art, stable diffusion, or whatnot, will be a chapter. So you can just see your chapters and you can like go back and forth. This one was a bit of a test, I guess. And yeah, that was testing EMG to EMG. Here was trying to make a new logo for Thingy. There will be an art contest, by the way. So if you want to, try to make your own logo, feel free to reach out, because we're going to give away 1 year of Nitro, Discord Nitro. This one I love the most. So if you're like interested in working on a chapter that you've done before, which let's say this one, I can click select. And now when I say /variate, I can say, okay, you know what? I just want to variate from this. And you can choose one of the images and you can go back infinitely. So you can do basically whatever you want. If you don't like it, you can just roll back. There's unlimited undo. So I say, okay, I want this one. So I'm saying select, and it should, oh, I didn't click it. Oops. All right, so now it's going to variate this one. So I can just close this. And yeah, basically, if you run stable diffusion or any other creation thing, so also like EMG to EMG is also there, so you can convert an image to another prompt. If you do that, it creates a new chapter, and you can always work on it. You can always go back to it. And let's say you're really happy with something. So let's say I like something. So I'm just going to say share. Let's say I love this one. I already shared this one. So let's do this one. And I say select. You're going to see, okay, this is the preview. Let's say, here we go. And now it's shared. And now you can see it back in the art gallery. So this is the way that people can actually share images and show it with the world. This chapter or this channel is read only, so people can just browse it and react to it with emoji, but they cannot actually talk into it. So yeah, any art here is basically just people proud of their art. So we got this one, we got food, one way to make me hungry. But yeah, you get the idea. Everyone can just drop their art here. I got here because I run the server on ARM, so I also made one about ARM HQ. But yeah, this is basically what happens. So let's see if there we have Jina HQ. So yeah, this is basically what it does. So it generates relatively fast, and all of this is on Jina's cloud. So I'm really stunned that this works. It took a while, but then you really have something nice. You can pimp your profile if you want. So like here, I created a new chapter. So like, let's say I want to have this Jina dance. I say select, and I can just change the background of my profile. So let's say I want it like this. I'm going to say save profile. And now when you do /profile, you can see my profile. You can also see someone else's profile. So if you're like, just want to know how this guy did, then of course we've seen it already, but just to show it, there you go. So yeah, that's basically the bot for now. And it's live on GitHub now. The beta version is up. There will also be an alpha version that will get the latest updates. Future, because things are going to look very interesting from here on out. There's a few features that I have in research and development. Yeah, you can actually fine-tune your own models later on. I don't think that is being able to run on Jina, but if it is, then it will be run on there. Video 3D art contests is also a thing that I want to do. So the first art contest will be the logo thingy, because right now it looks like a scam bot, really, because it never had a logo. Again, because we never thought this thing would really take off. We just had some fun, you know? And so yeah, people can soon fine-tune their own models. I've been researching this. Video and 3D is also something of my interest, but currently I'm just working on a smaller diffusion model just to, get a grasp of how it works. It will remain open source. So Thingy 2 is already on GitHub, just like Thingy 1. It's completely open source. Everything is open development. But since it's becoming bigger, I cannot keep it free forever, especially if Jina Cloud becomes paid. Then it's becoming a more interesting decision. What are we going to do with it? So the business model, it's going to be sustainable. So something that will keep the the open source development as it is right now. But there's some features that I need to get back into to make sure that things will remain as they are today. Because after about a month or 2 or 3, when Jina Cloud is going to stop being free, we need to find a way to make money to keep paying for the Jina Cloud so that people can keep using the bot as they want right now. I have a few ideas in my mind, but I'm really open to the public about what they think. Some of the things I was thinking about was making a few features pro so that the rest remains free. So like fine-tuning your own models is something that might be more interested to people who are actively working on art. Video and 3D could be something that we do also for pro. We could also do a subscription function where you have like Midjourney has like free 250 images, and after that we just make it paid. We'll figure something out, but that's something I wanted to put out there, not really to advertise, but to adjust expectations. This thing isn't going to be free forever. Something is going to change. What isn't going to change is that you can always run this yourself. So if you don't like the price of whatever it's going to be, or if you don't like the features that are going to be hidden behind the paywall, these features will always be open source. But like I said, if I want to keep developing this, especially when this is going to cost me money, I need to find something. And it includes you. The future absolutely includes you, because I didn't do this alone, and I'm not gonna do this alone. This really was just, I started it alone as a hobby project, and but now it's much more than that. It's literally the birth of something that is gonna allow much more models to run and have people play with them all into an easy to use interface. This whole bot is completely recoded to be more like a bot framework to allow different models of a similar category to be inside one command. So if you look at other bots, they are stable diffusion bots. You got disco diffusion bots. You got latent diffusion bots. You got all these different bots, but they're all bots, right? And we just have Thingy. And soon you can do you can make a prompt with disco diffusion, and then if you want to add some detail to it or change the style, you can use stable diffusion to change it. likewise, you can put a stable diffusion image into disco diffusion and add some styles to it if you want. So this is going to allow people to just create a chapter, which can be via disco diffusion, stable diffusion, whatever they want. And they can just alter it through all of these different models, even without knowing. Like they probably just going to say variate, and a random number generator just grabs a bunch of models, and the user's like, hey, I like this one. And so they keep going. So this thingy too is just a really different bot than anything that is currently being developed. And yeah, we're just having fun on streams and just doing this. So who knows where this is going to end. So thank you all for joining. And there is a survey on the bottom, the QR code. I urge you to fill it in and see how you think of the engineering all hands. Give a star to the GitHub repo of, I guess it's Gina's GitHub repo, and the thingy GitHub is on the right. So if you want to follow us or run this bot on your own server, feel free. It's all up to date right now. You can just load it up. However, if you're gonna run this on your own server, or you're gonna try this on your own, the new version, please reach out to me, because this is literally released minutes before joining this presentation. So this is really new. So any feedback you might have, any ideas, feel free to reach out. There's, of course, the issues page. You can find my server here, and there we can figure things out. So we can help you if you have feedback, or maybe you have some feature ideas that you want to have implemented. Many of the features that you see are all being done by, or not done by users, but they were being requested by users. So this thing is really flexible, and I'm really willing to adapt to whatever people like. So if you're interested in it, especially if you're going to run this on your own, please reach out, because I don't do any tracking or advertising or whatever, because I'm paranoid myself. So I don't like to use like Google Ads or something to see what users try. So if you're trying this, please reach out, because then we can figure out things out together. So I leave the QR codes up, and I think I will get back to Scott to do the questions. Would that be reasonable?
Yep. First, have you checked yourself the chat feed here on the Zoom call?
Which chat? Oh, was it?
There's
I did not see. Oh, because I think it's because I'm sharing my screen, right? Yeah, then it hides the chat. Damn it, I didn't see the chat. Sorry. Let's see. I'm not used to Zoom. What is Jina Cloud will be free forever? Really? Oh, hey, Han is there. Whoa. Okay, I'm glad I didn't see that, because it would really make me it would really be nervous. Oh, really? Okay, well, that changes things. Okay, I'm so glad I did not see that, because I'm like, whoa, I did not think Han would be there. I was actually I was hearing, and I'm really sorry that I gave the wrong information. And back in my previous meeting with Gina, I heard it wasn't going to be free forever. But if it's going to be free forever, then well, be my guest. So
it will be free forever for you.
Free for people. Oh, I didn't see that. No. Holy shit.
Peter, are you alive?
Oh my god.
Yeah, taking a screenshot of his reaction.
I didn't. Whoa. I'm sorry. What? This is amazing. Whoa. Thanks. I do not know how to thank you, but that's gonna be used absolutely to the fullest. Whoa, I did not expect that. Wow.
Well, this is going to go into the highlights reel, one of those, Oprah moments. You get a car, you get a car, you get free Gina. Anyway.
I did not. I don't know what to say. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Jesus. Okay.
We do have a few questions. One is, what are the prerequisites? I presume the technical installation prerequisites for Thingy.
Sorry, can you repeat it? I'm just so lightheaded right now.
Okay.
I'll
you
just
need
turn up
all-
the volume.
For Thingy, what are the technical prerequisites for running
The
it?
prerequisites. So you mean like what you need to
I
run
mean,
it?
Yeah.
It depends on how you're gonna run it. If you're gonna run it on the Jina cloud,
Mhm.
then it will be similar to how you do it with basically, I guess, any other Jina project. You need a you need a Jina cloud account. You need to upload the image to your account, because then it will be live on your Jina cloud link. The images are already uploaded, so you don't have to build them yourself. That's why it's easier. If you look here, this is also in the tutorial, by the way, but you can see here these things. TXT to EMG executor and EMG to EMG executor are both just already uploaded to the hub. So if you just use this flow, run the commands as in the tutorial, then you're basically Gucci as far as the AI goes. But the one different thing is that you also need to run, of course, the Discord bot in general. So there is this interface that talks to Jina, and that is the Disco art. Yeah, it's still called Discord art here. That was a pun, but it's Thingy. You just need Java. It doesn't matter what platform you run it on, as long as it has internet, it's fine. And of course, you need to set up a Discord account and a Discord bot. There's a separate category for that and how to do that. And if you have done that, it will allow you to do the creation commands, and it will just let you do whatever you wish. So if you have that running, it's just running. So I would recommend, if you're of course going to run this Discord bot 24/7, to get a server. And it doesn't have to be a fast one. Like you don't have to use a big server or something. I have 2 servers running here. Well, one is broken, so it's just sitting there, but that's like a big one. But I also have a smaller server. It's this, I don't know if I can show it with my webcam, but it's this smaller thing. It's a Odroid M1. It's a small ARM-based server, and it just runs the bots. And you don't need much more than this. This is just all right. This just, this even runs my training bots and stuff. This thing is insane. So, but something more mainstream like a Raspberry Pi will also work. It works fine. It's because I bought the Odroid because Raspberry Pi is all sold out because of the chip shortage issues going on. So I just used the Odroid, and it's the perfect machine. So, but if you just want to start it and feel like you can keep your computer running, or just want some small hosting provider, like even something like Hetzner, which is really tiny. I think it's a small service with just 2 gigs of RAM. They are small. You can run your bots on this. I don't think I have anything running right now because I left them. But yeah, the price of this, if you don't want to run your own on your own laptop, I think it's, okay, I don't know how this works anymore. Yeah, here. So yeah, it's like this much per month. It's the cheapest one is like $3 per month, $4. So that's what you need. Then you're running.
Well, I'm just curious myself because I have a use case. My wife is using Midjourney.
Yeah,
she's actually managing to make some money. Not much money, but some money. And I promised her that I would install Jina software so that she could stop paying Midjourney. But she's only used to that Discord interface that Midjourney has, which made me wonder, maybe I should try to install Thingy. But I don't really want to run a Disco server for a Discord server for the entire world. I want to just have the same interface.
That's absolutely possible. However, our Discord interface has changed, so it's no longer looking like Midjourney. Sadly, we have now this completely new UI. But like, if you want, I could.
Discord.
Sorry.
It's still basically Discord, though. I mean, We didn't see
Yeah.
the UI.
Oh yeah. It's still what the heck? Peter oh my god. Oh my god. Okay,
Okay.
that's cool. But yeah, the thing
It's just
is,
different commands.
yeah, so yeah,
Wow.
it's you have commands and you have prompts, and you can choose the models, but
That's
yeah,
similar
it's
enough for my
still in a
wife.
Discord interface, so you can still actually use it.
Mhm.
But I would say it's different from Midjourney, but I prefer, because if you look at Midjourney, you got like all of these buttons, and you got like, you know, you have to keep track on what you made. So if I want to edit an image, right, I have to like scroll all the way up and then find the buttons to upscale or to variate. And I don't know how Midjourney has solved it, but Discord has this issue that buttons no longer work after 50 minutes because they are like a connection. I think if I press this, you can see it no longer responds. I don't know what the idea behind this is, but I never got this to work. You can see you after 50 minutes, it's just dead. So I don't know how they did it, but they seem to keep working.
Okay.
But if you want to, if you're okay to get used to this interface, then it's fine. Because let's say you want to upscale, instead of having scroll up to get the right, you know, the right commands or push a button, you can just say upscale. Right now, upscale isn't in there yet, but let's say you want to make a variation. You can say variate, and you get your last generated image. And if you feel like, no, I want to go back to an old project, you can just say chapters, and you say, okay, which one do you want? You know, which one do you want to variate? So I'm like, okay, this one I like. So you can just always go back to your previous images. So I personally like this more than Midjourney, because you don't have to scroll this to this massive list of messages, even for a private server, right? Even if you're just going to run one server and just have one member inside, you can still get all gobbled up with all your messages. Right now you have like a virtual book with all your chapters in there, and that's pretty nice, of course, to have.
See, I think I could sell her on this, but we'll see. She's on vacation right now, so
If she doesn't like it, I will bring back a shell for her that will enable Midjourney-like interface. It's on me.
just be careful. I might, you know, I might let her get in contact with you.
Okay.
But do we have any other questions? I shouldn't monopolize the time here. If you can put them in chat or just signal to me.
Have you tried to use a cycle of Discord image generation based on a prompt followed by interesting? So yeah, that is actually pretty cool. This was a feature that was part of Thingy 2. There were two features that I was working on that are similar to this, and that's an interesting one. I haven't tried it, but definitely something that we can work on. So, I mean, I have worked on two similar features, but not quite like these. So, cool. I haven't tried it, but they will be added as a feature list. Absolutely.
Okay.
So I hope that was a good answer.
Do we have any more questions? Interpolation featured plans. Yeah, interpolation is something that I have seen other bots do, and I like it. But I wanted to focus on my own features first, because I feel like it's better to add some nice new stuff rather than something that is copied. Because yes, it's planned, but it's I have some other features first that I wanted to focus on, like of course the upscale needs to come back, because right now that's gone. Disco art needs to come back, and I think that the best way to in quote marks compete with other bots is to focus on your own unique art style. Everyone is basically making like I said, they're making branded bots like Stable Diffusion bot, Disco art bots. So all of these bots are basically different versions of the same, and I want to go more in this direction of Midjourney
where we're going to have this own custom art style where people are either falling in love with it or hating it, like Midjourney, and that will be our unique spot, our like our niche. That's more thinking from a business perspective. So yeah, it will be developed, but I really want to focus first on that niche where not many people have tapped into yet. So it's going to be there, but it's on a lower priority.
Okay.
What a great session. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear. I'm super happy with it myself. It was I think that this was the best present ever. I don't think my birthday is gonna match this up. It's insane, actually.
Okay, now, as we mentioned at the beginning, we have a raffle this evening.
Oh,
We do.
I'm going to turn the floor over to Jyoti.
Thank you.
Ready?
Yep, I'm ready. Who's sharing the screen, by the way? Peter, you are, right?
oh yeah. So I stop it because it's.
Oh, it's okay. You can continue it, or I can share my screen. First of
Yeah,
all
because-
people in the audience, I mean, how many people are there apart from the Jina employees? I think so. There are 15, right? Or 14. So I would like all of you to choose a number between 1 to 14, and of course, type it in the chat so there's no cheating over there. So I know who actually won. No, 1 to 14, John. John is like, I'm going to choose the last number.
Am I allowed to do it as well, or?
Yeah, sure. Any number between 1 to 14 which hasn't been chosen by any other person.
Okay, I think that someone else.
Just see the number, and if it's not chosen by anyone, just take it. Come on, guys. So when I'm going to run the raffle, the number that it stops on, or the number that it chooses, is the person who will win. So yeah, that's not really. And Eric and Sarthak have the same answer, which is okay. 6. We already have 6. Sarthak, can you choose any other number, please? 11. Okay. Anybody else who wants to choose a number, and then we can go forward with it? Great. So I'm going to share my screen, and since we are all, I'm assuming, coders over here, I'm going to do it with the help of a program. I'm not going to actually run a raffle, but I'm going to allow Python to choose a number randomly. And Sophia, can you please check the chat once of...
That's going to pick a number that's less than 14.
Oh, no, it will pick up the number. It's,
yeah, but it's going to be in the range of 1 to 14, excluding 14, isn't it?
No. It's inclusive of 14.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, I just ran it like 1 to 10, and it gave me 10. So I assured it myself. Great. Let's see. Okay, who's won? It was very, very intuitive. Although, if you want to see in all fairness, it's different numbers. So who was number 1, I think? Great. Amazing. So it was like a lucky trial for everyone. So can you please send the details to me in Jina Slack? Oh, by the way, guys, if you are not on our Slack community, then please join it. I'm just sending over the link over here, or is it already shared? Okay, wait. I'll just share the link over here. You can send me the details of your address and everything. Great. Join our Slack. We'll see you over there. And thank you, Peter, for an amazing talk. And I will pass the baton again to Scott.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Yes, please join our Slack community. You can see the URL in the chat. Also, Peter, can you put up that slide with the QR codes again?
Yeah. Let me go get it. Share screen.
I should have had it right too.
I think it's here. So why is it? Oh yeah, no.
There we go.
It's back.
Um,
So let's make it full
That's perfect.
screen.
We're happy to hear from you. Please leave us a star on GitHub. Take part in our survey. Join our Slack community. We're a growing community. We're a lot of fun, and we have plenty of great code to work with. And let me see here. I think that's everything on the agenda. So thank you everyone for coming. And
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you all too.
Thank
well,
you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.